Okay. I'll have to get everyone's attention. Hello, hello, hello everybody. Hello, hello. Because there's not that many of you left now. Quite a few people have gone. So if I'm to speak to anybody, I need people's attention. Okay. Okay. Going to talk to you about the contrail phenomena argument. There's a lot of people out there very sceptical about what we're seeing up in the skies these days, as to whether they're actual deliberate chemical trails or whether they're just normal, like the authorities tell us, contrails from aircraft, and they've been there, you know, ever since there's been major commercial aircraft activity, you know, since the 70s, 80s or whatever. My viewpoint is I will be putting some points from a website, a debunking website called contrailscience.com, and it does have some, you know, relatively interesting articles. But I am pro chemtrails. I do think that they are lying to us, and I do think it's a program. The various reasons for that. I'll be putting some evidence why I think they are actual chemtrails. But first of all, I'd like to start with a couple of definitions. Contrails. I'll go through a few definitions of contrails. This is from Webster's Dictionary, and it says contrails or condensation trails are streaks of condensed water vapour created in the air by an airplane or rocket at high altitudes. And then we go on to Encyclopedia Britannica, and they say contrail, streamer of cloud, sometimes observed behind an airplane flying in clear, cold, humid air. It forms upon condensation of the water vapour produced by combustion of fuel in the airplane engines. When the ambient relative humidity is high, the resulting ice crystal plume may last for several hours. The trail may be distorted by the winds, and sometimes it spreads outwards to form a layer of cirrus cloud. Also, NASA say that contrails typically form from 26,000 to 39,000 feet. I do have a point about the contrails being persistent, because this is the big thing. You know, you can look up in the sky and see what I call normal contrails, which dissipate very quickly behind the plane. But it just seems to me that I just don't remember this from my childhood. And if anybody does actually have a lot of like photos or videos from the past, or even any, of this sort of phenomena, then that would be great. I have found some, which I'll be going on to on the contrailscience.com. So there are examples from the past that I can see which look legitimate of this phenomena in the past. But what I would say is, I don't think it happened very often at all in, say, the 70s and 80s, and even the early 90s. I believe this phenomenon started about 96 and then has got worse maybe in the last 5 or 6 years. If there's any questions, we'll take them at the end. Yeah. Okay. Also, I would say about the high humidity required. So a lot of moisture in the air up there to create the persistent trails. Then, you know, this is happening virtually every other day now in the sky. Some places in the world are saying this is happening every day. So this high humidity seems to be happening every day. And one of the things I will be doing, I'll be contacting the Met Office again when I come on to evidence for chemtrails. I have actually contacted the Met Office about something, but I will be contacting them again about this issue of if I can get some information about the humidity levels, because, you know, I can't believe that this supposed high humidity that you need is there on you know, all these masses and masses of days where we see the sky just blanketed with this artificial cloud blocking out the sun. Anyway, continuing with some stuff from the debunking site, the contrailscience.com. As far as this phenomena happening in the past, they say from a document called A Field Guide to the Atmosphere by Schaefer and Day in 1981, they say sometimes contrails are ephemeral and dissipate as quickly as they form. Other times they persist and grow wide enough to cover a substantial portion of the sky with a sheet of cirrostratus. And also the site goes on to say, are spreading contrails a relatively new thing? And they say no, it has been exactly the same for decades. The only change has been the size of jet engines producing bigger contrails. Okay, not something I believe, but engine efficiency, burning fuel more efficiently creates more water vapour, and the amount of air traffic producing more contrails. Spreading contrails have been mentioned consistently, they say consistently, through the history of aviation. What exactly consistently means, you know, I don't know. I don't think it means every other day there being contrails up there, but there we go. Throughout the history of aviation, including in the popular press, like Sports Illustrated, November the 6th, 1989, and it says in there, now, late in the afternoon, the hatchery explored and the fishing over for the day. Crooks point to the sky, blue all day, it has now turned hazy. Contrails, he says, the haze is caused by aircraft contrails that have gotten spread out till they cover the sky. This is a major air route from the east coast to the west coast. And then also, lastly, from the contrailscience.com, so sort of debunking it, debunking the chemtrails, they say, for scientific discussion, see, for example, all these articles on contrails, and then it says, in particular, the one titled Airborne Observations of Contrail Effects on the Thermal Radiation Budget from 1970. And it says, the spreading of jet contrails into extensive cirrus sheets is a familiar sight. Often, when persistent contrails exist from 25 to 40,000 feet, several long contrails increase in number and gradually merge into an almost solid interlaced sheet. Contrail development and spreading begins in the morning hours with the start of heavy jet traffic and may extend from horizon to horizon as the air traffic peaks. Then it says figure 1 is a typical example of mid-morning contrails that occurred on 17th of December 1969 northwest of Boulder, that's Colorado, and it says by mid-afternoon sky conditions had developed into those shown in figure 2 and almost solid contrail sheet reported to average 500 meters in depth. And although I haven't got any sort of professional slides on that, I will just pass around this sheet which has those photographs on, which you can just have a look at for yourself. Okay, so that's the... can we do the questions at the end? Sure. Yeah. So that's the debunking side of it, okay, for now. So if we move on to evidence that I believe is there to show that there are actual chemtrails up there and it's part of a spraying program. So as far as a definition of chemtrails, well, I mean, it's not officially acknowledged that there is chemtrails, so there's no official definition of a chemtrail. However, the layman's library here just says that chemtrails is a term coined to suggest contrails are formed by something other than a natural process of engine exhaust hitting the cold air in the atmosphere. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. So if I just move on to my evidence.